Hi, good evening. It's 421, April 21st, 2019. We're at day T+19, uh, which sounds crazy. It's almost 3 weeks since my infusion. And it's the second good day, really good day in a row. Uh, Third, I think, actually, third good day. So we're stacking them, and that feels pretty good. But it's interesting. I mean, this is a different. I guess this is a different kind of post in the respect that it's more philosophical and reflective than many of the others. It, but it's interesting what happens to you when you sit across the desk from a doctor that you've really not met or known for a very long time before, a doctor who turned out to be an amazing support piece in this journey that I've been taking. You know, if you live out in if you live out in Agoura, West Hills, Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley, anywhere around that area in Westlake, uh, and you need an oncologist, I can't recommend Dr. Dr. Sharia Ashuri more highly than I did by trusting him with my life, and that says a lot. That whole interaction says a lot. But before I get scattered, I'm going to warn you that it's 7 o'clock at night now, and the shift is going to change, and things might get crazy. But I don't want to be distracted again, because I've wanted to talk about this for a while, because talking about it helps me work it out in my own head. But we define ourselves throughout our lives in a number of different ways through the roles we've accepted, or through the roles through the paths we've chosen to take. I mean, we start out as young men and women. We ultimately become some of us ultimately become husbands and wives, partners, significant others. I mean, the names have changed throughout my lifetime, certainly. We become husbands, wives, parents, friends. We are sons and daughters, and brothers and sisters, and we define ourselves primarily, in my opinion, at least in my experience, that primarily we identify ourselves, or we define ourselves by what we do in too many respects, perhaps. I was a mechanic, I was a technician, I was a manager, I was an owner. Throughout, I had suddenly had an opportunity to become a trade journalist and a writer, and through that became an educator and a trainer, and a spokesperson for a whole community of people that still are underrepresented, a consultant for large corporations that and groups that had relationships with the automotive repair industry, or in distribution and manufacturing, and managed to exceed every dream I ever had about what I would do and where I would go in this industry, kid around and Leslie's going to kill me. She just walked out of the room, but she'll murder me when she sees this. Her father, Warren, warned her not to marry me, warned her that I would not be able to support her, warned her that I wouldn't be able to give her the kind of life that she was used to, deserved, or expected. And she had enough faith in me to say, no, he's going to be okay. He's going to get the job done. And in so many times in my life, I've managed to do that. I managed to get the job done. But this isn't exactly all about me. This has a lot, excuse me, this has a lot to do with this redefinition process. Because ultimately, in my case especially, unexpectedly found myself sitting across from a doctor who was forced to tell me, the first thing he did was ask me if I ever worked with any petrochemicals or solvents or heavy metals. And I've only been around that my entire life since I was born. And the bottom line is my father was in that business. His father was in that business. His father was in that business. And ultimately I went into that business. And then proceeded to tell me that I had a, what do they call it? I'll think of it later. But I had a blood cancer, and I had a very serious blood cancer. And the blood cancer I happened to have, which took a bone marrow biopsy to confirm, but he still knew it was going to be one of the really worst blood cancers, based on where my numbers had started to go. That the disease was terminal, that the disease was chronic, and that the disease was untreatable. And it was untreatable at that time. And we proceeded to work together for the balance until I was actually fired and sent to another oncologist for the treatment that we're sharing right now. Now, when you're diagnosed as a cancer patient, there's a different level of internalization of how you define yourself. I mean, previously, you define yourself both inwardly and outwardly. You define who you are in your own mind, who you are in your own heart, who you are in your own body, who you are in what you are willing to do and what you absolutely won't. Your values, all of the things that are really important in life. You define yourself externally by who you are in what you do, how you project yourself, how you operate, the level of honesty you're committed to, how you treat other people and how you want to be treated. But when you're defined as a cancer patient, that takes over a whole different level of takes up a lot of space on the disk. If you think of yourself as a computer, being diagnosed as a cancer patient is like having a program, a huge program, operating in the background where you can't see it or feel it all the time, taking up a tremendous amount of bandwidth, because everything you do, everything that you're told is going to affect where you are when you begin treatment, or if there is a treatment. How how strong you can make yourself, the discipline that you can bring to your life prior to treatment, and certainly the determination that you must have in order to in order to move forward. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, there's going to become a point at which very quickly they will declare the primary myelofibrosis, the type of myeloid bone cancer, bone marrow cancer I have. They will define that as gone. I will no longer be a cancer patient. And that bandwidth is probably equal or greater than the bandwidth that had operated previously. So how do you define yourself then? Are you a patient in remission? I won't be a patient in remission. The chemo drugs that they pumped into me that destroyed whatever they destroyed my marrow, and they certainly wiped out my immune system, wiped out the primary myelo cancer in destroying those stem cells, or the cells that were mutant. And then I have to go ahead and figure out who I am again. And I've already made the commitment in my own mind that I'm going to work tirelessly for City of Hope. I'm making that public here because if you put it on paper and you tap it on the wall, it's not so easy to walk away from. And I refuse to walk away from the karmic debt that I have to all of the people here for help giving me this second chance. So as I said, it's shift change. So on that happy note, I'm going to go ahead and leave you right now. But think about how you define yourself. Think about how you wish to be defined by others. Think about who you are and what you're willing to do. And it's worthy of a thought, because when you were a cancer patient, you got to wonder how differently that affects your life and how tenacious you intend to be with whatever you've got left. So stay well, take care, love you all. Bye-bye.